Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Jay Will. Still a little bit under the weather, but I had to go ahead and catch up on the CES things that interest me. And as you can see here, I have some BLU products up. If you remember a couple years back, I started pumping out the BLU products and I was pretty excited with them. But with LTE coming on board and BLU not having very many LTE devices, it kind of stopped me from promoting a lot of their phones. So they decided to bring out a couple of LTE devices that interest me. So it's the One Life and the Life One and the Life One XL. Now, obviously, I would lean more towards the Life One XL because it has a 5-inch display and it has a textured back like the OnePlus One. That to me is a direct shot at OnePlus One because they've got the sandstone back on here. But of all these devices, I think the one that interests me the most is the Vivo Air. This device is launching on January 15th, if you didn't know, through Amazon. So stay tuned to the channel to see if I pick this up. I normally would shoot for a black device, which is this version here, but I'm probably leaning more towards this gold. And it's not that it's got the gold on there, it's that it's white. And I think this particular device, the body on this is going to look pretty nice, and the white color will do it some justice. But we shall see. Whatever is available on the 15th, if I decide to order, I'm just going to grab whatever's there. So a quick look at the specs on here. This actually, now some sites are saying that this has a quad-core processor, and some sites are saying that it has an octa-core processor. So I'm going to go with what's on BLU's website, and it clearly says that it has the power of 8, which means it has an octa-core processor. Now, obviously, this isn't a processor that's coming from Samsung or one of the bigger name brands, but it is an octa-core, and you know it's probably going to be a MediaTek from what I think. I think I read that it was a MediaTek. So I'm just scanning through it so you can see the design of this. Now, the reason this one intrigued me the most is because it's 5.1 millimeters. It probably won't have the strongest battery life, but another thing that intrigued me about it, besides the 5.1 millimeters, this will be the lightest smartphone that I would ever own. It's under 100 grams, 97 grams. That is going to be mind-boggling to feel in the hand. I'm curious as to how this will feel next to my iPhone 6, because the iPhone 6 I think is 120 grams or so, somewhere around there. And it's a pretty lightweight device, but it still has some feel to it. So this is going to be interesting. You can see the back here. It has a 8 megapixel on the back, and it's got a little microphone hole there, probably for noise cancellation. The SIM tray is on this side, and volume and power on the other side. Sandwiched between the glass. This is not a unique design anymore. Everyone's doing it. I think LG capitalized on this the best with their attempts at making a sandwich type device like this. I think not LG, I'm sorry, Sony Xperia Z line does this the best, I think. I think I said LG a minute ago, but I meant Sony. Sony actually has perfected this type of design, and I think they do it the best. The Z3 is one of the most powerful and best devices that have this style, in my opinion. So the device itself, 8 megapixel on the back, and I think it has a 5 on the front. But again, those aren't the, yeah, it has a 5 on the front. Those aren't the highlights of this device. I think just the build quality of this device could sway people to purchase this. This is going to be $199, and I'm hoping that at launch in the next week when it launches, hopefully we can get some. I'm a Prime user, so hopefully they'll give us. We do get jumps on things ahead of time, so hopefully this will jump out there and I can grab this sooner than the 15th. But until then, that's the date, and it actually costs $199. So it has Gorilla Glass 3. This isn't an LTE device, but to some that really won't matter. It has the blue overlay skin. I haven't experienced this skin yet, but more than likely I would take it off and put Nova on there or the Google launcher. It comes with 4.4.2, I believe, and so those are things that to me hold BLU back in a lot of ways, because BLU they're obviously they have their pricing right on pretty much all of their devices is priced right. Some of the devices that they've released lately, I have just not been feeling. I think they're overpriced at $300, and they're not even LTE, and they're still rocking like MediaTek process. It's really downgrades for what I have in my catalog. So this particular device is a 4G device, and it's on the slower side of 4G at 21 megabits per second. But it does have an octa-core processor. Okay, here it is right here. On their website, it says processing is 1.7 gigahertz quad core. So if you scroll up, like I just showed earlier, it said octa-core. So I guess that's why some people were getting a little confused on it. But it does say octa-core up here, so it could be a misprint down here. I would prefer this said octa-core, but I don't know. I'll check it once I get it. If I decide to pick it up. But another downside to this is it has no external memory that you can upgrade. So you're stuck with probably about 11 gigs. But like, if you know me, I use cloud storage. So the memory on a phone, if it has 16, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's really not a problem. The display is still 720, but that's more than enough for a 4.8-inch display. It's an IPS display, so it should be pretty good. Bluetooth 4.0, it doesn't have dual band Wi-Fi. I would love to see that on their devices, but I think you have to have a Snapdragon for that. I'm not really sure on that, but I believe you would need a Snapdragon for that in order to get the dual band. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I'd love to be educated some more, but I don't think you can have that with those MediaTeks. Nonetheless, this is stunning hardware. So is it a great looking device? Yes. Is this the only device I'm focusing on out of all those new devices? Yes. The other ones, they cost a little bit less and I might pick them up. But this one, even though the other ones have LTE, these two right here, I'm just not sold on them yet. I don't know, the blue sandstone finish is basically the same thing that the OnePlus One has. And that's gonna feel pretty good actually. But here's what you get. You're actually getting a Snapdragon in here. It's LTE, a 13 megapixel camera. Those things don't really excite me anymore. I guess I'm leaning more towards hardware and pricing for a lot of things. So, and they're just putting LTE in just a few of their devices. So it's kind of agitating because I would definitely purchase more of their devices if they all had LTE, or at least a Snapdragon 410 and all of the upcoming devices. That would be okay. But they're focused around budget, and I have to remember that. I am technically an end user that purchases some high-end devices, but I prefer the end user view, which is why I try to bring a lot of videos on lower price devices with somewhat good tech, good specs in them. So this is a 64-bit. I believe the other one is a 64-bit as well. And again, it has the 410 processor, which is a new processor. So this should run okay. It's got the 306 Adreno in there, so it should give you solid performance. It should, because it's also running on KitKat as well. It's not even running on Lollipop, so it should run pretty good. So they're the specs. They're still 720 displays, even though they're 5 and 5.5. It's a 64-bit system, but this has only a gig of RAM, but you can upgrade the memory there. So here are the official sizes of these: 7.5 and 8.3 millimeters. So these are some big devices, to say the least. Look at the height and the width of these. These are some big phones. They have big displays, and then they have all these bezels around the edges and the bottom and the top, which makes it for a big phone. So with that being said, here's to get on to the truth about Blue phones. If you want to see a video, a full review of the new Vivo Air, just look up the eLife by Gianni 5.1, because it's exactly that phone. If you want to see the Synergy, the 5,000 milliamp battery phone from Blue, it's basically this marathon. And there are full reviews out there on this device that have been out for a long time. The body is exactly the same. There's nothing different about these devices. So, and when you see stuff like this, it means that the manufacturers of these hardwares that are making these devices hardware, they'll sell it to whoever to get the profit. So there it is. So a lot of these devices, you'll see they've already been out just under a different name. The Synergy is basically that Marathon. The Vivo Air is the 5.1S from Gianni. So, I pointed this out in several of the videos. So if you see a new device come out, or you hear that it's coming out, go to Gianni first, because you'll definitely probably see a video review on it or see that it's already out. So this if I had to choose one of these, obviously, like I said before, it would be the 5.5. These don't come out until March, but they're going to be okay devices. It says it's going to go up to 5.0, but we don't know. One thing I will applaud Blue on, though, they do pretty much run a stock device, and that's good. But this device is really intriguing because I want to match it up against one of my most expensive phones, is the iPhone 6, obviously. That's a $900 phone pretty much, and this phone is $200. I want to see if I'm getting my money's worth and what I recommend the Vivo over the iPhone. And I'm not going to focus much when I do these reviews. I try not to focus too much on software, because I'll do some app speed tests within comparisons, but we shall see. I try not to focus too much on software because people have a preference, and then they'll tend to be biased. They won't even watch the video. They'll start asking questions or making statements before they watch the video. And in a lot of cases, I've already covered it in the video. And my response, if you see my video, sometimes you'll see watch the video and a reply to several people. But nonetheless, I'm really intrigued by this because I think it's a direct competitor for the iPhone 6. What do you think? So, let me put you side by side here. You can see why I would say this is a direct competitor for the iPhone 6. It's almost the same size, width. The height and width is pretty much the same. 67, 67.4, 138.1, 139.8. It's almost the same height and width, and then the thickness obviously goes towards the Vivo Air because it's 5.1 millimeters. That's just truly amazing. Another thing is it's 129 grams for the iPhone 6. This is 97 grams. This is ridiculous. And it even has a bigger screen than the iPhone 6, and that's the crazy part. So this is not a big phone, and it has a bigger screen. And the screen to ratio body on here is 65.8 for the iPhone 6, but it's 67.4 for the Vivo Air. So that's interesting. So they have a octa-core versus a dual core. We all know that doesn't really mean anything because performance is always going to lie in how well the software is built with the hardware. Apple has mastered that, and Windows Phone has definitely mastered that. So 8 megapixel on the back for both, 5 megapixel on the front for the Vivo, 1.2 for the iPhone 6. Doesn't mean that the 5.5 megapixel will perform better. We all know that. So I think that's pretty much some of the things I'll cover if I can get my hands on one of these. 2100 milliamp battery and an 1800 milliamp battery. My iPhone 6 can go 3 days with almost 7 hours. I think 7 hours of stand on time, straight up, on a single charge. So the problem with Android is things keep running in the background, and you have to do all these tweaks to try to get the best battery out of your phone. So even though this has a bigger battery, that doesn't mean anything. One downside that I think Blue has fallen into, and I say this now, it's not a downside for I'm saying for them as a company. I'm saying it's a downfall for me as a consumer who wants to purchase their products. All of my phones pretty much are nano SIM. My Note 4 is not a nano SIM. I wish it was, but I have an adapter in there. And also has a removable battery, so I can take the back off and put an adapter on. But this phone doesn't have a removable back, and it's a micro SIM, which means I'm going to have to change one of my SIM cards to a micro SIM just to use this phone and test it out. And then I'm going to have to convert my SIM card back to a nano SIM, and unless I'll just create a prepaid or something for a day or for a month and use this phone like that. Maybe I'll do that, just pay $10 or something to create a prepaid. I think I probably will do it because I don't want to convert. I have so many nano SIMs, I have so many devices, and pretty much all of them are nano SIM. So with that being said, This is probably, as you can tell, probably gonna be my next purchase. Again, but I didn't touch on these other phones because they don't interest me, and I know they might interest you. But just head over to blueproducts.com and you can see the Synergy, the Studio X series, and the Studio G series. Those are all under $200. So I think you'll be pretty much impressed. I think all of these phones fall in at $199 or less actually. So I'm sticking with these two right here. But as you can see here, I'm showing you the Synergy, the X series, and the G series. They're going to be available. Most of these are going to be available in March, I believe. The Synergy comes out at the end of January, I believe. The Vivo comes out at on the 15th, which is next Thursday, 1 week from today. Today is January 8th. The Vivo Air comes out on the 15th through Amazon. This comes out, I believe, like the 30th or something like that. I'm not sure. And all these come out in March, I believe. But that could change. So that's my take on Blue's new products. Does this device interest you as well? Put aside that it doesn't have Lollipop and put in front of you that it has a stock Android experience 4.4 at under a $200 price range. What do you say about that? Great looking hardware. Actually, it looks much better than my iPhone 6, and I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but this looks just fantastic. And I have a gold iPhone 6 and a black iPhone 6. So my pluses are the big ones though, but I do have a small, a gold iPhone, which I can put this against if I get a gold one, and I do have a black one that I can put this against if I have a black one. So we shall see. Does this device interest you? Are you interested in the Vivo Air for $199? Do you think that's a fair price? I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. It's your boy Jay Will.